I'm Louis Eisen, and this is the Policy Brief. In our last episode, we talked about why policies are so long, and the bottom line is most of them contain all kinds of statements they shouldn't contain. The problem in most cases is the failure to distinguish between authorities and guidance, with people putting all kinds of guidance statement into the authorities. The guidance, the stuff on the right, that's what needs to be made accessible to everybody. It needs to be plain languaged. You might need to create versions that are different for executives than for middle management, than for frontline people. You might need to put it in different languages. You can have the same sentence many, many times in the tools and guidance. In contrast, any given statement should appear only once in the authorities. One of the things people pad their policies with is statements that are already in other authorities. Let me show you how that might happen. Here's a company that has a lot of caustic chemicals or liquids, and they have a safety policy because they want their employees to follow certain safety procedures. Assume that this organization is governed by legislation called the Hazardous Substances Control Act, which deals with these kinds of chemicals. Inside their safety policy, they have put this sentence. But this statement is totally useless inside this policy. Let me show you why. The policies and rules that you make internally aren't the only authorities you rely on. You also rely on laws that govern your jurisdiction and maybe international standards, industry standards, association rules. But here's the thing. There needs to be a set of manuals or training manuals that the employees can use to learn what they need to do. So everything the employee needs to know about how to carry the substance, how to hold it, how to package it, etc., will be found inside these manuals. These manuals are informed by a series of authorities. The black arrow meant informs. So let's use this gold arrow to mean is informed by. Each individual rule needs to be informed by some authority. If there's a statement in the guidance telling people they have to wear rubber gloves, that needs to be founded somewhere in the authorities. It could come from a standard, a regulation, a policy. It has to come from somewhere. But it only has to come from one place. If the Hazardous Substances Act says to wear gloves, that's the only authority you need. If you don't make a rule about it or put it in a policy, it's still true. It doesn't become any truer if it's in two places at once. Chemicals have to be handled in accordance with the Hazardous Substances Control Act, whether or not you put it in your policy. Some people say to me, well, it's good to have it there anyways, just as a reminder to people. Yeah, that's what guidance is for. The guidance documents, the manuals, everything that the employees read, that's what reminds them. That doesn't mean you have to add them to your authority. When you need to get a policy approved, it takes a long time to run it through its process. People at the top, they're very busy. They don't have time to approve things that they don't need to approve. This statement is true whether or not the committee at the top approves it. Why would you spend time and money putting statements that are already true into your policy documents? Don't you have better things to do with your time? You might as well put a statement like this in your policy. Or this. If you want to bring facts to the attention of your people, the place to do that is the guidance. Remember this basic principle. The authority sets the rule. The guidance restates it. Well-written policies contain only statements of authority. They do not restate rules set elsewhere. This principle applies to all existing legislation. Whether you're saying that our documents are subject to the Freedom of Information Act or the Access to Information Act, whatever you call it, that hirings are subject to the Employment Equity Act, whatever acts or statutes or laws you want to quote, you don't need to quote them in your policies. They're already true whether you approve them in your policies or not. And you can shorten your policies considerably by taking out those already true statements. We'll look at other types of statements that you can leave out of your policy documents in the next policy brief. A lot of the information comes from my book, Respectful Policies and Directives, which you can get online or at any bookstore. Feel free to share this with anyone you think might find it useful, and leave me a comment below if you agree, disagree, like this. Feedback is always great. Have a great day.